Oh, fire. Yeah. You kick. Yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I am ready to drop on you my 16th iteration of my Ultimate Fire Necromancer, the strongest version yet, currently at 600 corruption. As always, I will show you every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now the skills we're using for the Ultimate Fire Necromancer are Transplant, and they are going to bring our minions with us because we have the experimental affix on our boot. Dread Shade that you're going to be spamming all the time on your minions. Skeletal Mage, and Skeletal Mage is spec'd into Archmage, so you only have one. And then Fire Golem, we are using my armor Aaron's Will, so you're able to have 3 of them. And then we're using the Call Staff, which is going to give us up to 15 Wraiths. Now, this staff brings down your minion's life. But don't worry, we have so much minion regen, health regen, that the Golems and the Archmage are still permanent minions. They just play around half life the whole time, which can help you generate ward. I'll explain that during the gear portion. Unequivocally, our strongest fire necro we have made. You just transplant around and make wraiths, and then throw on Dread Shade when you need it. Couldn't be simpler. 600 corruption right now, and as you can see, you just melt everything. Let me show you a 550-ish Shade of Oribus. All right, Shade of Oribus. Ooh, you almost got us with Here It Comes. So you got to be careful. I mean, you're still a Necromancer, and we are not playing low life. But you see that our Golems will generate ward for us because of my armor Aaron's Will. And you have insane health regen for this build. So as long as you don't take a one-shot, you will generate up to 700 life per second. Sometimes you can even get it higher. And Shade of Oribus is already in its final phase. And Shade of Oribus is dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills, starting with our first skill, Summon Skeletal Mage. Now, normally we would use this as our traversal skill. It works awesome. It's honestly one of the best movement skills in the game, but for this build, we're using Transplant, so it's not needed, so you get extra points for Skeleton Mage. And I'll show you the order in which you want to take these points. First thing you want to do is come up here to the left, and you want to get Archmage. So you're only going to have one big bad skeleton. It's really what I like to call my Flame Warden. Then you're going to come down here, boost crit multiplier, turn it into a Fire Mage. So if you don't take this node, it'll be necrotic. You want to remove the necrotic mages so it is only fire. You're then going to come up here and get some attack speed. And then in order to keep your Summon Skeletal Mage alive, you're going to get some Leech. Now, if you're not having any problem keeping them alive, these 5 points you could bounce up to if you want more damage, but keeping it alive, in my opinion, is better since the damage is already so high, but the choice is yours. Moving over to the staple for any good Necromancer build, of course, Dread Shade. First thing you want to do is come down here, get area, make it so it doesn't drain life of your minions, get attack speed, get area and damage, make it so it affects you. You're going to come down here and get boosted necrotic damage. You're going to get area of missing health will boost the effect. And then you're going to come up here and get vitality armor per vitality. Moving over to my favorite skill in the game, Summon Bone Golem. First thing you want to do is come to the right and turn them into Fire Golems. Then you want to come to the left, and this is one of my new favorite nodes, Bone Growth. Your Golem has additional health regen based on your total amount of health regen. Now, even though our staff, our call staff for Wraiths is killing all of our minions, our Golems can outpace that with our own health regen, so they are still permanent, which is really, really cool. You're then going to come down, give it more armor and health, and boost their threat. And again, for this build, you will have 3 permanent Golems, and again, they will not die. Moving over to Wraiths, where right now we have 26 points put in. And this is pretty easy. You want to come up and make them stationary, which is going to give them a 45% multiplicative damage. You're then going to come over here, boost their damage and their leech. You're then going to come over here and boost their crit and crit multiplier. You're going to get more multiplicative damage, and you're going to take extra wraiths. Now, if you don't have 26 points in, You could pull back 2 right here on Reapers. You could pull back 2 right here on Wraithbringer if you're not struggling with mana at all. If you do struggle with mana, you probably can't make all your Wraiths anyway, so you could pull 3 points back and just take off 2 of your maximum. Lots of options on Wraith. Last skill, Transplant. Now on here, first thing you want to do is come left, bring down the cooldown, add a minion. The more minions you have, the more health regen you have. And you want to take Bone Armor, and Bone Armor is going to last for 7 seconds. You're then going to come to the right, and you're going to get Haste and Frenzy when you cast Transplant. You're going to want Kill Threshold. You're going to want it to proc Bone Curse, and you're going to come up here and take Detonation Leaves Blood Pool. Those are the skills. So now let's break down the passives, starting with the base Acolyte tree. And this is my standard setup for the base tree for Minion Army. 8 into Forbidden Knowledge, 5 into Dark Ritual, 7 into Stolen Vitality, and 1 into Soul Aegis, which is going to give your minions 300 base armor. Moving over to Necromancer, and there is just so many different configurations of this tree. I wish I could fill the whole thing. There's so many good points, but I'll kind of try and give you my reasoning. 5 into Risen Army, 5 into Grave Thorns, because we want that minion armor. 8 into Blood Armor. This is a new node that I take on my minion builds now because we're spec'd into health regen. 5 into Mortal Tether, 1 into Unbound Necromancy, 8 into Tyrant to boost your health, and 1 into Tyrant's Legion. Now, Tyrant's Legion and Unbound Necromancy, you need both of these points in order to make 3 golems. 3 into Cursed Blood, 6 into Aegis Fall, which is going to give you 150% minion armor shred chance, which is great. And then you're just going to go around the horn. 3 into Cling to Life, 4 into Empty the Graves. The more minions you have, the more regen you have. I can generate up to 800 life per second. 5 into Frantic Summons, 5 into River of Bones, 3 into Heresy, 2 into Blades of the Forlorn, 3 into Rite of the Undeath, 5 into Veins of Malice, and 10 into Moonlight Pyre. My last 10 points went right here into Apo, which is Intelligence and Mana Regen. Now, in this tree, okay, every time you cast Dreadshade or Transplant, it will trigger Veins of Malice, which is going to give your minions Frenzy and Haste, and this is for 5 seconds with the 10-second cooldown, which means half of the time your minions are alive, they're going to have Frenzy and Haste, which is awesome. Now, if you don't need the resistances, you could pull these 3 points out, okay? And you got an option. You could put it in Intelligence and Minion Crit. You could max out your minion armor shred chance, or you can come right here and to put it in Arisen Army, which will give attack speed and minion damage. They're all pretty good. Some people like to buff chill chance and crit strike multiplier. Again, so many options on this tree. Those are the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools, we're going to break down the blessings, idols, and gear, starting with blessings. Now, no surprise, all of my blessings are survivability. We have void resistance, physical resistance, endurance, crit avoidance, and most importantly, health regen. And this one does take a while to get a good roll, because when you get the blessing, you can get a 200% health regen and a 12% base. Both of them roll every single time you get it, so it might take you a little time. Get used to fighting Mr. Lagon. Going over to idols, we have 4 that are double health. Pretty simple. And then we're using the Adorned Immortal idol, which is chance to summon Wraith or Flame Wraith instead of a regular Wraith. You want 2 of those, and then 1 with health, and my other one has chance for Mark of Death on hit. You're going to curse your enemies. So idol setup and blessings. Moving over to the gear. The required item for this build is the Call Staff. This is very, very easy to get. I had 2 of them with 3 LP that we slammed, and this is the Wraith item. Now remember, minions lose 6% of their current health per second, and we are spec'd into Aaron's Will. Now remember, my golems have so much minion health regen that they can outpace that 6%. So follow me down the rabbit hole for a second. So that means that their life goes down and they stop right around 50-60%. So your golems are always really half health. That being said, Aaron's Will does something interesting. Bone golems have a 6% chance on hit to grant you 2 to 4% of their missing health as ward with a 1-second global cooldown. These golems have insane health, and you have 3 of them. So you will notice that keeping them half health is actually going to generate 1, 2, 3, up to 4,000 ward for your build. So you're going to have insane health regen, and your golems are going to be generating a bunch of ward for you because you are bringing their life down, which is countered by minion health regen. I hope that makes sense. To use Aaron's Will and have 3 golems, you need 2 hollow fingers. And then the rest of the items are just exalted. Amulet. Belt. Relic. Boots. On your boots, make sure you get the experimental affix. Minions teleport around you. And gloves. That is the gear. Now let's talk leveling. Aaron, this is great, but how do I get from level 1 to end game? I will show you. For me, it does not matter if I'm a Necromancer, a Lich, or a Warlock. I level all of my Acolytes the exact same way. The first skill I take is Summon Skeleton. I come over here and I remove Warriors, so all we have is Skeleton Archers. And then I come over here and I buff our Skeleton Archers. It's hard to keep skeletons alive, so you want them in the back just shooting. Second skill I take is Summon Volatile Zombie. And I come up here and I give them Kill Threshold. So this is going to be basically your spam skill. You'll just be making zombies the whole time and they're just going to run up and explode and blow everybody up. The third skill I take is Summon Bone Golem. And I take these nodes right here, which is going to buff their armor and health and generate threat. So it can just soak up all that damage so that your archers and your zombies will blow everything up. Then once you actually unlock Necromancer, if you'd like, you could switch out skeletons and upgrade them to skeleton mages. And then just like what we did, you want to come over here and make them fire. So they just sit back and burn up enemies. You also want to put an unspec transplant on your bar so you still have a movement skill so you could bounce around. You will fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my 16th iteration of my Ultimate Fire Necromancer? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I could do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. A couple of asks at the end. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate, but of course, only if you think I've earned it. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 140 members that have signed up. We have movie night every month. We have game night every month. You get exclusive content. You get access to the VIP lounge. Lots of cool stuff in Patreon. It is the first link in the description. Lastly, join my Discord. We're coming up on 4,300 members. We cover all things action RPG. We're kind of the unofficial voice channel for Last Epoch. We do a giveaway every 2 weeks just for being a member of the community. It's an awesome place to hang out. Check out the Discord. I'm done. Hopefully you're entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.